When Kleber Mendonça Filho's last film was here in Cannes, its resonance with his home country Brazil's political turmoil was uncanny. In Aquarius, a 65-year-old woman is being forced out of her home by patriarchal property developers. Meanwhile, in Brazil, 65-year-old President Rousseff was being prized from power by the men at the conservative core of political politics. The brilliant filmmaker is back in Cannes with his new film, Bacurau. It reflects the difficult times his country is enduring under its new president. Kleber and Juliano, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last time you were in Cannes, you protested with placards against the political situation in Brazil.
Yes.
Because the left-wing President Dilma Rousseff had just been stripped of office.
Yes.
You're back, and Brazil is in another political turmoil under the far-right President Bolsonaro. You're going to be protesting this time?
Well, it's funny because we got a lot of questions when the film was announced in competition in Cannes a month ago. And every journalist asked us if we would do another protest. And it really felt like, you know when people come to Radiohead and say, are you going to play Creep? Please play Creep. Play Creep, you know. And ultimately, we are filmmakers. We're not political militants. At the time, in 2016, we felt that the international press wasn't really paying attention to what was happening in Brazil. So the protests actually worked in terms of saying, maybe you should take a look at what's happening in Brazil. And now with Bolsonaro in power, democratically elected, by the way, I think the international press is giving fair and interesting coverage. And we thought the good protest would be to screen the film, which you saw, and I think it raises a few issues about life in Brazil today, you know, or maybe in the near future.
Na fazenda de semana ali.
When he arrived in January, President Bolsonaro said he'd purged Brazil of cultural Marxism. What effect is he having on the Brazilian film industry, which has been vibrant since the 90s?
I think we don't know exactly what's going to happen because it's ongoing situation and it's too early to give some ter alguma certeza.
Cause and effect.
Yes, cause and
However,
effect. Yes.
all the major federal fundings have been slashed for culture, and of course it affects the film industry. We have 3 films in Cannes this year. Bacurau in competition, we have Karim Ainur's film in Un certain regard and Alice Furtado's film in Kanzen. And there was something happening in the Brazilian Film Agency because it took them 1 week to actually announce the Brazilian presence in Cannes. And when they did, they didn't bother to mention the names of the filmmakers or the titles of the films. So there seems to be something happening in the background, kind of undermining the whole industry. So, but as Juliano said, it's still a little early to give you a full report on the situation.
The film is about the exploitation of rural communities, indifference of the government, and the damaging role of America in our world today. Is it a very seriously political film? Is it only that?
I hope not, because I really think it's a film about power, and power is something that I've been looking at in my previous films. This time we have some Americans, we have a British character, we have a German character, and we have also Brazilian characters who see themselves as powerful in some way. And then we have
and
the
different
people,
from another Brazilians.
Yeah, they behave in a different
Yes.
way, and I really think I really think we made a war film.
Yes.
We thought a lot about Ukraine in the 1942 in the Second World War,
Or Chile.
or Chile in 1973. You know, you have power, and then you have people who try to help power, and then they become enemies of the common people. It's an age-old situation in life, you know. It's really about power. Aquarius was about power. Neighboring Sounds is very much about power. But this one, for genre reasons, everything is...
Well, it's a Western.
It's a Western.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a slasher film.
A slasher and a science fiction film and an adventure film. We've really kind of lost any shyness about. We were not shy about.
But I gotta say, it was very hard to compete with the reality nowadays, you know, because we are writing the screenplay and reading the news, and some things we are thinking it's absurd enough to put on the screenplay already happening now. So what we're gonna do now? So we need to push forward a little bit, you know.
But it was a month ago. We were in Paris doing post-production, and we learned that the new Ministry of the Environment in Brazil, they actually erased the environmentally protected areas in a certain region of the country, so that it wouldn't be on the map anymore. And a friend of ours sent the article and says, "Can you believe this? This is reality."
Environment
So-
actually features in the film as well.
Yes.
It's one of the themes. And Brazil's legendary indigenous chief,
Yes.
Rani, is actually in Europe at the moment
Yes.
to speak about what to do about the Amazon.
Yes.
What do you think we need to do? What do you think the world needs to do to help?
That's a tough question.
We should never lose sight of what's right and what makes sense, because that's the first sign that you're in dystopia, when you have to explain that it's not right to pull a gun and kill someone just because, and we're getting to that point.
Yes, and the key of all of it is education. So if the population of a country doesn't want to be educated, what we can do? So we need to begin from the beginning, saying obvious things to these people and trying to prove they need education, they need culture, they need arts. So
There's actually been large protests in Brazil this week about the education. More and more people seem to be taking to the streets in recent years in Brazil. Do you think this mobilization is a good thing?
Always.
yes, always.
But I
always.
really wish there was more. Judging by the the first 5 months of the new administration, I think we should have had a lot more, because every day there is something crazy going on. And it affects many, many different people. And it's actually ironic to see so many people who supported Bolsonaro now posting, that design thing for Facebook, like I support public universities. But you voted for the guy.
Yes.
He's actually a politician who said he would do this.
Yes.
Everything that he's doing, he actually promised.
Yes.
And when he promised, people said, yeah, but he's never going to do that. I'm going to vote for him anyway.
In the credits, you say how many jobs were created through making the film. I think you said 800 jobs were created.
Direct and indirect.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have to justify the economic impact of film beyond its artistic value?
We are living now at a time when we have to state the obvious all the time, and it's a depressing moment when the whole artistic community is being despised and criminalized. And yes, we have to remind them that, the film industry is an industry. People work, they make money, and they buy food, and they have a house, and so that's why we use that very obvious statement at the end of the film. And right after the statement, the names begin to come up, and you can actually count how many people were involved in the film.
Kleber, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.